Liz Truss is a bit of a joke in Britain, but she's gone over to the United States in a bid for a little more respect. Truss has appeared at the US conservative conference CPAC, where she spoke to former Trump chief strategist Steve Bannon.
Talk to us about your time as prime minister. It was intense. It was brutal. Did the deep state turf you out with knifing you in the back? Give us the inside details. This is your audience right here. They love Nigel Farage. We love the strong Tories, not too crazy about the rhino Tories, right? Talk to us about it.
I wanted to cut taxes. I wanted to cut the size of the administrative state, and those people didn't like it. The economic establishment in Britain wanted to keep things the way they were, and they did. They got me. But I have learned from that, Steve.
You did. Hold on. Was it The Economist that got you? Was it the Financial Times of London? Are these the people we got? This is the party at the City of London. Are they the ones that run the deal over there?
These are the friends of the bureaucratic establishment. They are the friends of the deep state. And they work together with bureaucrats, of which we've got many more in Britain than you have here in the United States, to keep things the same. And people in Britain aren't happy about that. They want change, but it's being stopped. And that's why we need a bigger bazooka.
Everything Liz Truss said there, you'll have heard before, right? She's been a bit of a broken record since she, lost her position as prime minister sooner than a lettuce would decompose. But I think the interesting thing here is why she has chosen to do this sort of high-profile event with Steve Bannon, right? Steve Bannon, he doesn't have wide appeal in Britain, but Liz Truss seems to think that sort of cozying up with him is the right thing to do to remain relevant. And I don't think she's going to move to the United States. So I think she wants to be relevant in the United Kingdom and thinks that cozying up with Steve Bannon is a good way to do that, which I think tells you what is the Conservative Party base becoming. What kind of movement are these guys trying to sort of court and meld in the UK? There are a lot of people at the moment who want to bring Trumpism to the UK. And it's not because there's this huge groundswell of popular support for Trump. I think they kind of want to create it in a way out of nowhere. I suppose you don't have to have that many Trumpists to take over the Conservative Party, which is essentially what they want to do. I don't think Liz Truss is going to try and be the leader again, but maybe she would like a top job in the shadow cabinet, presumably, if the Tories lose the next election, of whoever does take over. GB News were also at CPAC, and Liz Truss appeared on Nigel Farage's show to say this.
I feel that Joe Biden needs to be kicked out of the White House.
Yeah.
I think that is vital for the future of the West. And I have worked in the cabinet under both the Trump presidency as trade secretary and the Biden secretary as foreign I was foreign secretary. And I'll tell you, I felt safer for the West when President Trump was in power.
There you are, a British Conservative saying nice things about President Trump. And you're right, he actually does stand up for genuine Conservative values, and he likes our country. And I always think Biden rather loathes us.
No, Biden seems to be very keen to criticise the United Kingdom, and that's certainly what I found as both Foreign Secretary and Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He stands up for genuinely conservative values. He's just had to pay millions and millions of pounds in a legal case for sexually assaulting someone. It's really weird to see these sort of UK politicians tying themselves to the Donald Trump movement, which, as I say, is just not that popular in this country. Liz is also, I said, she's decided to appear with Steve Bannon. She is a really big fan of the guy, it seems.
Is she tough enough to turn England around? I think so. Hold it. Would you work with Nigel?
I need a few more friends, though, to be frank. I need a few more people to help me. So, Steve, if you're willing to come over to Britain, once you've sorted out America, you can come over to Britain and sort out Britain.
I may be banned in Britain. Would you think of working with Nigel on maybe restructuring the Tory party?
I will work with whoever it takes to make our country successful. I will work with whoever.
Amen.
And Nigel, and I've done an interview with him already today, I would like him to become a member of the Conservative Party and help turn our country around.
Ruth, I want your views on this. It does seem like there are a lot of people in and around the Conservative Party who have decided that now is a good time to try and do what Trump did to the Republicans to the British Conservative Party. Now, there might be, as there were in the Democratic Party in America, sort of some Labour strategists licking their lips. If the Tories go into opposition and become the crazy party, there are many ways in which that is beneficial to Labour, but it obviously also comes with some risks. What's your interpretation of what Liz Truss thinks she's doing here in the United States?
Well, Michael, she's trying to break America, having already broken the UK economy, I guess. This is the thing that UK politicians now seem to do. They sort of torch their careers in the UK. I mean, it began with Nick Clegg, of course, his famous voyage over to Silicon Valley after he disgraced himself in the coalition. But then I think we literally saw just a few months ago Suella Braverman head straight to America after she resigned as Home Secretary. And I suppose it's that they're trying to find their people and sort of a readier and sort of healthier base for what they're trying to popularize, which, as we know, is this kind of popular conservatism, or popcons, I think they call it. So, I think there's something there about going to America to demonstrate that, well, look how far ahead the US is, compared to the UK in terms of there are loads of people here who support Trumpism, and look how ready they are to import it to the UK. And I'm not just a kind of right-wing fringe lunatic here. I'm just kind of one of the many. So I suppose it's sort of trying to project the UK forward into a possible future and sort of what they perceive, I suppose, as a sort of right-wing utopia, which I guess the US is by many assessments. I think we should also pay quite close attention to the terms that Liz Truss is using, indiscreet as they are. When she talks about a bigger bazooka and she says that she needs more friends, I don't think she's talking about friends and weapons. She's talking about money. She's trying to fundraise. This was essentially her pitch, probably not on her own behalf, as you say. She's probably not going to be a Tory leadership candidate anytime soon. Although, you never know if there's an actual split within the Tory party and the popcons become a party of their own. Then maybe that's a feasible scenario. But I think what's equally likely is that the popcons will do kind of fundraising of their own, whether or not that's sort of within the remit orbit of the Electoral Commission is, I suppose, to be determined. But they're trying to fundraise, and we know that American right-wing kind of ideologues, both Christian right, secular right, are kind of lining up with, to open their wallets. I think that there was reporting in 2019, from Open Democracy, showing that the American Christian right had sunk something like $50 million into European, electoral races across the continent. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of looking for places to funnel cash as the elections approach. This is obviously a big election year, not just in their country, but in ours. And I think that Americans understand, and certainly the kind of organized right understands incredibly well, the power of sort of international coordination and joint mobilization. When we talk earlier in the show about pickets outside abortion clinics, these were not so prevalent until recently, but the Christian right has organized more and more on issues like this. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Truss has gone there with quite a hard-nosed desire to just kind of basically raise cash. But then, I think it's also true to say that on the kind of softer side, Truss is there to sort of force a realignment of the Conservative Party to sort of show that, whilst her premiership may have sunk the economy for a time, and perhaps for some time to come, her ideas are not discredited and have a political home, not just in America, but within the Conservative Party. And so I think there's something to do with kind of building credibility for what should be obviously a entirely discredited ideology.
She might be there to sort of try and raise some money for a political campaign. She's also there to try and flog her new book, 10 Years to Save the West, Leading the Revolution Against Globalism, Socialism and the Liberal Establishment. And it says, Liz Truss, former Prime Minister of Great Britain. It should say in brackets for 44 days. And you've got Boris Johnson. Liz Truss is right that the last thing any of us needs now is more socialism, more taxes and more regulation. As I say, what was she, our Prime Minister for 44 days? She now wants to fail upwards and lead the whole West. China will be licking their lips. The decline of the West will come much sooner than it otherwise would if we let her have anything to do with it.